Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water. This is probably one of the most commonly used phrases by health authorities and all of us since the outbreak of COVID-19. But how do you wash your hands if you don't have access to clean water? This is the plight of the residents of Atebubu in the Bono East region. JoyNews' correspondent Anas Sabit was in the community. Here is his report.
Regular hand washing with soap and running water has been highly recommended by health authorities so far as the prevention of the COVID-19 pandemic is concerned. However, here in the Atebubu municipality of the Bono East region, what you see behind me here is the major source of water for the people staying around this particular vicinity. Now the people have two options: to either regularly wash their hands with the little water they have, or save it to be used for domestic purposes. Ideally, everyone will choose to drink from the little water they are having. That is the plight of the people here. We're interacting with these people this afternoon to find out how they are coping with the unavailability of water in the era of COVID-19.
Because this water is important to us, and it helps us a lot. Because without this water, there is no table. And the water we are using, that's the water the animals too are also using. And it is fertile to us. It brings a lot of disease. Because when we look, this water, time of rainy season, it carries a lot of feces to the water. And we are also using the water.
In an era of COVID-19, we are being told to regularly wash our hands with soap and the running water. Are you able to do that once getting water is difficult here?
We are not practicing it because we have shortage of water. Where are we getting the water? And then where will I get the water and wash our hands? So we are not practicing it at all.
You step in the water with your feet, put your hands in it and then fetch it for drinking, for washing of hands and etc. Don't you think people will even carry virus into the water in this coronavirus season?
Yeah, people can carry virus into the water. And we can't do anything to stop them.
True fact, because there's no any protection agencies here. If someone is with this virus, you will never know. So the virus can carry into this water easily.
While residents here may want to follow hygiene guidelines necessary to stop the spread of the coronavirus outbreak, access to potable water or lack thereof is preventing them from doing so. They, however, have a simple but necessary plea to authorities. Reporting for JoyNews, Anas Sabit, Atebubu.
They're still making do anyway, so you have no excuse when you have water running through your taps not to wash your hands. This is still the Pulse with me, Gifty and Appear. Now, how do you feel about press freedom? Do you think the government is interfering in the work of the media here in Ghana? Well, majority of Ghanaians who partook in a research do not think so. I do not think the media is free from government interference. That's a conversation I'm having when I return from this break with the CDD. Just stay with us. Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. About 72% of Ghanaians perceive the media is not free to report on news without government interference. Now, that's according to the latest Afrobarometer report. The report, which was released on the occasion of World Press Freedom Day yesterday, also revealed that only 19% of Ghanaians feel the media is somewhat free or even completely free. We'll be speaking with research analysts at the Center for Democratic Development on these findings. But first, let's get reaction from the president of the Ghana Journalists Association.
Need for us to defend more intensely, more tenaciously the freedom we have. And as I said, it bears repeating that no single individual can mount this defense. One way is to embark on an aggressive media literacy program. Media literacy will deepen the understanding of what we do and the need for the generality of Ghanaians to accord us the safety and the respect we need. The environment, the conducive environment cannot be created by journalists themselves. Ours is to ventilate wrongdoing, ventilate and draw attention of officialdom to ills in the society, and that's where our job ends. Others need to take it up in the society. So, an aggressive media literacy program, education, which enable Ghanaians to understand what we do as journalists and why we do what we do. I mean, this will elicit the right response, hopefully. The police, the security agencies also need that kind of education, because some of the attacks have their root in ignorance about what we do. They do not understand what the role of journalists is. That ours is to play a complementary role and not to see ourselves as rivals. So a aggressive media literacy program is one. And we also ought to comport ourselves in a way as not to fall easy prey to the enemies of press freedom.
I'm wondering what you think, what your thoughts are as far as press freedom in Ghana is about. Are you part of those who think that government is somewhat interfering in what journalists do in this country? Let's get on the telephone lines. I have a representative of the CDD right now to join us, look at or appreciate better the result of this report. Godfred Esiama is a research analyst at the CDD. He's the one that's joining me. Mr. Esiama, thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
So quickly, I want us to look at this report in three phases. So first, we do a brief on your executive summary, if you like, and then we do a brief on the methodology, and then we end with the implications of your findings, or if you like, recommendations. We can do this as brief as possible. I know that for academicians, it becomes a bit, laborious when you have to put all of this together. Let's start with the executive summary. From our perspective, people think from your report that journalism is not necessarily free from government interference from here. Give us a brief of what the research result is.
Well, so I think Afrobarometer research, from time to time, we go out to discuss with Ghanaians their views on several issues. And one critical issue that we always ask Ghanaians about has got to do with the role of the media. And so we've been asking this question consistently for some years. And when we asked Ghanaians questions about the media in 2019, the feedback that we got was clear that many Ghanaians believe that the media, even though they expect the media or they think the media should be free to publish their views and to comment on issues without any government interference. That's for majority of the people. They believe the media has the right to investigate government and also throw more light on issues of corruption or mistakes by the government. But to them, they don't think the media is being given the free space to operate within our democratic environment. and that is a bit worrying. The expectations of the people are very good. They are in support of media freedom, but the supply of that freedom, so far as government is concerned, is what people think is not forthcoming.
Okay.
First of all, let me go back. So let me go back to the methodology that we used and our standard Affail Barometer survey. We spoke with 2,400 respondents across the country, and these are adult citizens. So anybody from 18 years and above qualified to be interviewed, and we use random systematic sampling methodology, which means that almost every adult Ghanaian had equal chance of being talked to by our team, which went to the ground to do the interview. So I think that's the methodology, and we can.
Mr. Siama, are you there? Or did I just lose you?
Yes,
right,
I'm here.
Right, please go ahead.
Yeah, so the confidence level from this research and the methodology that we use is very high, because if you want to go out and use the same methodology and ask Ghanaians the same questions that we ask, it's possible that you have just a little variation in terms of the answers, either +2 or -2, in terms of the percentage and the answers that we have in this Affail Barometer report. Who will give you a different answer from what we are giving? So it's something that you can trust, and we can all rely on for our discussion.
Okay, it is fair as far as time will allow us to interrogate the methodology. I'll say from this perspective that it is fair. Let's take a look at what's standing out so far, and which has been the point for discussions that people do not think. They believe, they agree that the media has the right to go out and do whatever investigations there are, but they don't think that the media is free from government interference. Do you probe further for reasons, and what are the reasons given by these people you interviewed?
Well, so when we are doing some of these surveys, we don't ask the why and the how questions, but I think we always look back at the period and assess or check what happened at that point in time that might have influenced the perspectives of citizens. And so from 2018 coming to 2019, a lot of things happened in our political space that we wouldn't be surprised. So it doesn't make the findings surprising, honestly. When you look at the things that were happening, they would definitely have impact on the thoughts of citizens. Some include people who had been murdered right from 2019, and even 2018 we had a reporter from your station who had been beaten or manhandled by security agencies. Others have been maltreated by national security personnel. We have had the government also being harsh on some media houses they think haven't complied with some provisions of the state. Even though the government may be right, but if you look at the gravity or the scale of it, we haven't seen that over a long period of time. So these are things that will push people to think that the media really do not have the space to operate. And one key thing is the fact that when these things also happen and you don't see an end to it, it also creates more suspicion, and people wouldn't see the commitment of government to resolving these issues. Then they don't think if the media person or if a media house is caught in any of these unfortunate incidents, either by the government personnel or government agencies, they will have justice.
For the qualitative approach lovers like us would have loved to delve into the minds of the people answering these questions, but I also find it interesting what the implications of these findings are. You've said some of them already, but the fact that people think that the media is not necessarily free, be it whether or not because of the investigations or ownership of media houses, etc. How worrying is this to democratic development for a country like Ghana?
It is very worrying. The media, as we know, play very critical role so far as our democracy is concerned. They are supposed to hold government accountable. They are supposed to ask critical questions. They are supposed to expose wrongdoing. So citizens also rely a lot on the media for information. And so if the media is facing challenges which will not allow them to independently dispense some of these critical democratic functions, then it means it is undermining the progress of our democracy. We will not have the free space to share information, to ask the critical questions, which is the role of the media, which goes in a way to also help citizens to understand governance better and also be able to hold government accountable.
I'm hoping that we'll be able to have some time to look a bit more into, the findings and the implications and perhaps the recommendations of this. But what is one key recommendation you make as part of this research?
I think as the discussions have started, we want to encourage, or we want to see more commitment on the side of government so far as people have suffered. I mean, media houses have suffered from some of these things that undermine media freedom. People have been murdered, the cases are inconclusive, and people have been maltreated. We haven't seen an end to all these cases. We need constant updates, and we need the government to show more commitment to journalists. It's not really about doing or having results, but when you are seen showing commitment, it means you'll be encouraging more journalists and more people to have the confidence to do their work as expected of them. And again, you'll be able to erase that conception that the government is not committed to promoting media freedom in the country.
So certainly, closure to outstanding investigations bordering on press freedom would do. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon and for the perspective shared. Godfred Esiama is a research analyst with CDD.